What happens when one of the biggest lenders helping families pay school fees suddenly leaves your country? That's exactly what is happening right now. Leshego Africa, a major microfinance company operating across Africa, is exiting Uganda, Ghana, Tanzania, Nigeria, and Rwanda. After nearly 20 years in Uganda, the company is selling everything and walking away completely. This is quite unsettling for many people because for many Africans, borrowing money is no longer luxury spending. It is survival. In Ghana, over 80% of people borrowed money in 2024. And the biggest reason? Education, not business, non-travel, school fees. In Uganda, 70% of people reportedly live with a personal budget deficit, meaning what they earn is not enough to survive comfortably. So when schools open, many parents borrow. When tuition is due, students borrow. When teachers need emergency money, they borrow. And Leshego positioned itself right in the middle of that reality. In 2021, the company even expanded into education loans for schools, parents, staff, and students. So now the big question is, if major lenders start pulling out who finances education, many African governments are not sufficiently funding education. Families are overwhelmed, and banks often make borrowing difficult for ordinary people. Without accessible loans, many households may be pushed towards informal lenders with brutal interest rates. And for small businesses already surviving on credit, things could even get harder. Leshego says the new buyer will continue offering financial services, but history shows transitions like this are never that simple. Do you think education in Africa is becoming dependent on debt? And if lenders leave, who fills the gap?
Imagine waking up and not knowing if you eat today. Now imagine that happening every single day. That's the reality for millions of people in Sudan right now. Some parents are eating once every 2 days just so their children can have a very small piece of bread or a cup of porridge. This is a country that once supplied peanuts to much of the world, but now its own people are struggling to survive. Cotton farming once provided income for hundreds of households, but today families are fleeing for safety, ending up in overcrowded displacement camps. This story is deeply emotional because for nearly 3 years, many people in Sudan have barely been able to afford a single meal a day. Right now, 19 million people are facing acute hunger, meaning that food is scarce. Families that once had enough to eat are now relying on humanitarian aid, which is also inconsistent. The World Food Programme says the crisis in Sudan remains the world's worst humanitarian crisis. But who is really paying attention to this? One major reason is that the war in Sudan has received limited coverage in both regional and international media. Despite affecting millions of people, the world's largest humanitarian crisis is still being overlooked. Areas like El Fasher in North Darfur and Kaduri are among the worst hit. To put this into perspective, out of every 5 people in Sudan, 2 of them do not have enough food. But you might be wondering, how did Sudan get here? According to the UN Human Rights Fact-Finding Mission for Sudan, the country is experiencing atrocities linked to an ongoing civil war with warnings of a genocide. The conflict is a power struggle between the Sudanese army and a paramilitary group called the Rapid Support Forces (RSF), which evolved from the Janjaweed militia. More than 150,000 people have been killed and around 260,000 people are trapped in El Fasher alone. Children are severely malnourished and too weak to play. Pregnant women are suffering miscarriages and urgently need medical care. Humanitarian groups say the roads into El Fasher are too dangerous, making it extremely difficult to deliver food and medicine to people trapped there. They warn that blocked access is worsening starvation and putting thousands of lives at risk. And no one knows how long this will continue, because hunger is not just about food, it's also about fear. The fear of surviving one more day, fear of losing loved ones, and the fear of being forgotten. So while the world maintains its silence on Sudan, millions in the country are still fighting for something most people never have to think twice about. That's their next meal.